Hola amigos y amigas, you are now with Jocelyn, and as always, I'm so grateful you are here. Blessed Valentine's Day, my loves. I hope that you are all feeling love today and every single day. First and foremost, by yourself, for yourself. I figured it would be fun for us to do a relationship Q&A here on my channel for Valentine's Day, so I took it to Instagram. Follow me on Instagram if you don't already, to have you all submit some questions for me to answer in this video. And I really want this space to be a space where we have these open, honest discussions about the human experience, about the spiritual experience, and just life in general. So when y'all sent these questions, it made me so excited to do this video because the questions are so good and so juicy, and I'd love to know your answers for these questions as well. So if you feel open and safe enough, I claim my channel to be a safe space. I'd love to know what your answers are for some of these questions, for whatever questions you feel called to share your answer for in the comments below. You already know I love engaging and cultivating community in the comments and connecting with you all. So if you're watching this on a day that's not Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day anyways, okay? Every single day is a day for love, but I decided to come out into nature to answer this video, so just a little disclaimer, you might hear all of nature sing and buzz, and you might hear the occasional helicopter or airplane because we are in LA, but without further ado, y'all, let's get into talking about relationships. What are some triggers in healing that led to deeper shadow work? First of all, y'all, the kind of questions that you all submitted are super deep, which I love. And each question could honestly have its own video, but because I want to keep this video brief, I'm going to keep my answers somewhat brief. But if there's a question you want me to dive deeper into, I can go there. I am down. Just let me know in the comments. But let's get into this question. So since we're talking about relationships and we're talking about shadow work, let me take you back to the end of 2020 when your girl was going through the most saddening, disappointing, shocking heartbreak, breakup I've ever experienced in my life, which triggered the most healing I've ever done in my life. And that healing, everything that I was confronting in that healing because of this breakup experience. And by the way, I wasn't only going through like a partnership, romantic relationship breakup. I was also experiencing a breakup with a best friend, with a close friend of mine. So like the two people that I was closest with at that time in my life, I was experiencing breakups with. And with both of them, it just felt like a complete 180, like out of nowhere, did not see it coming. And this healing that came from these breakups led me into the deepest shadow work I've ever done in my life, because I don't know, I feel like these seasons of healing and spiritual awakening and shadow work like come to us in a season of our lives where we're really just called to, right? Like I knew for years that I had codependent tendencies, but it wasn't until this season in my life where I finally was open and ready and willing to really finally confront that. So this healing season and this shadow work season was the season where I confronted a lot of aspects of me that surrounded relationships. And I think that that was partly because of just how shocking this whole experience was. Like it really triggered me in a way that had me questioning myself, which led back to a past relationship where I experienced a lot of gaslighting. And when you experience a lot of gaslighting, you experience a lot of questioning yourself. So it really led me in so many different directions. Like I was triggered in so many different ways, confronting my codependency, confronting the gaslighting I experienced in past relationships, you know, my quote unquote daddy issues and how that, you know, spills into the kind of men that I attract. So y'all, it was a lot, but I'm really grateful for it at the end of the day. You know, at the time it was really, really hard, but I'm really grateful for it because now I feel like I have a spiritual foundation and a clarity and a worthiness that I feel that I know I didn't have before. So moving forward, I feel more confident in, you know, the kind of relationships I'm going to attract and uphold and engage with. How to start getting to know someone from a soul level and build a spiritual partnership. So y'all, straight up, I've never really experienced like a spiritual partnership before, and I love this question because this is what I'm really looking forward to. And I feel like we won't really experience a spiritual partnership until we ourselves as individuals are responding to life and experiencing life from a spiritual foundation. And it wasn't up until like the past couple of years that I've really started developing and coming into and integrating my own spiritual foundation. And this comes with us doing the work, right? This comes with us really investing time and energy into our healing, into shadow work, into inner child work, into ancestral work, confronting our truths and who we really are, you know, coming into acceptance, coming into surrender, all of these really beautiful spiritual experiences that we'll have with ourselves first and foremost. And then from there, you know, attracting people who have also done this work with themselves. And so, you know, I couldn't really tell you exactly how to manifest this because I haven't manifested it yet with a partner. I've manifested it with friends, like where we're getting to know each other from like a deep soul level, you know, like meeting soulmates and your soul family and all of that. But having a spiritual partnership is something I haven't experienced yet, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And the way that I feel I am going to manifest this is by, as you mentioned, getting to know someone on a soul level. And the way that you do that is by having very soulful conversations, like very honest, deep, spiritual conversations that consist of this individual work that we've invested our time and energy into. So I'm really excited to talk to my future partner about, you know, these past couple of years where I have been developing my spiritual foundation and what led me to it and what I learned from it, and me getting to know, you know, how they came into their spiritual foundation and, you know, what their perceptions on life are and spirituality and all of that. So I'm really excited to experience that and to have these kinds of conversations. And I think that that is how you really start to get to know someone from a soul level. It really is all about honest, soulful conversations. Thoughts on when to search, settle, and keep looking. So I'm not someone that like goes out and like actively searches for someone. I also don't do dating apps. Like I have no interest in meeting someone online or through a dating app. But I will say that when I start finding myself like feeling ready and open and eager to come into a partnership, to meet someone and experience a romantic relationship, I start like really speaking it, writing it, praying it into existence. Like I'll start journaling about, you know, the kinds of conversations we're gonna have and the experiences we're gonna share and what kind of human this person is and what I love about them and how they make me feel, how I make them feel. And I just get very specific and detailed about it. And I just start cultivating that energy of readiness and willingness and openness into coming into a romantic relationship, partnership. And it's definitely worked before. Like I really feel like that's how I manifested my last partner. And as I mentioned, like the beginning of that relationship was absolutely magical and beautiful, and it felt like a dream come true. He definitely helped me refine my prayer, okay? I'm definitely gonna start, you know, including emotional awareness and intelligence and a spiritual foundation and all of these other things that I've awakened to desiring in a romantic partner. But that's my version of like searching. In regards to settling down, I feel like I'm very old-fashioned and traditional, quote unquote. Like when I find someone that I'm interested in, I see a potential in, I am only speaking to this one person. Like I'm not someone that's talking to multiple people at the same time. I've never done that. I'm not interested in doing that. And it's not that I'm necessarily like already settling down, but that's just how I approach dating. Like if I find someone and I see potential and I'm attracted to them and they're attracted to me, and there's like just that energy, then I'm gonna just focus on that one energy, on that one potential. And if it ends up not being the one, if it ends up not being a potential, then it ends and I start going back to the writing and speaking and praying into existence. So that's how I approach all of this. How do you deal with betrayal involving a friend and significant other? So I don't know what your situation is, and I pray that you are healing from that experience. But as I mentioned, at the end of 2020, I was going through a breakup with both my friend at the time and with my significant other at the time. And yes, I did feel a sense of betrayal by these two people because they were treating me in a way, or I felt they were treating me in a way that I would never treat them. And I was in complete disbelief by the whole experience. And, you know, looking back at the suffering that I experienced from that, I know that I inflicted some of that suffering upon myself because I didn't simply accept the truth of the matter of the whole situation. I was in resistance. I didn't want to believe that what was happening was happening. And I feel like we have to remember that the ultimate betrayal we'll ever experience is the betrayal with ourselves, self-betrayal. So in these life experiences, we have to ask ourselves, you know, which choice is going to honor me and which choice is going to have me betraying myself and my values and my worthiness. If I continue my relationship with this person, with these people, am I going to feel deep down like I'm betraying myself? And if you feel like you are, you have to accept that, honor that, and decide to part ways and just go through the motions of heartbreak, which is a part of this human experience. So looking back, like I definitely inflicted my own suffering because of the resistance. And I know that, you know, moving forward in life, I just have to accept the truth of the situation and decide from there what path is going to honor me and my values and my worthiness, and what path is going to inflict self-betrayal. What has been your most soul-filled relationship to date and why? I'm going to be that girl and I'm going to say that the most soul-filled relationship I've experienced and will ever experience is my relationship with myself. But in reference to another person, a relationship with another human being, the first person that comes to mind is my friend Isaac, who transitioned from this lifetime at the beginning of 2020. So rest in peace to my friend Isaac, who I miss with my whole heart. I miss him so freaking much. But man, did we have such a soul-filling relationship, so soul healing. Like, I feel like the reason why he's like the first person that comes to mind for this question is because he, I feel, was the first person who really knew all shades of me. And what I mean by that is that he knew the darkest aspects of me. He knew the lightest aspects of me. He knew all these shades of me, and he loved and honored and respected and supported all shades. And he reciprocated that honesty with me. Like, I also knew so many shades and depths of him, and I loved and supported and honored and celebrated all these shades and aspects and depths of him. And it was just a very healing relationship for both of us. We exchanged a lot of truth that we hadn't shared with other people. And we were very open to having really dark conversations, or I should say conversations that consisted of darkness. Like we talked about, suicide, and we talked about just a lot of, taboo topics that people feel uncomfortable talking about. We went there, and it was very like no judgment, none of that. It was just very honest and comfortable and healing. So I'm just so grateful and so honored to have experienced Isaac. He truly was a one of one, and he was a mystic too. Like he was deep in spirituality. Like he really introduced me to all of that. He, was the homie that would pull up your astrology chart and read it for you on a regular basis. He had a deck of cards on him, tarot cards on him all the time. He was so beautiful, such a beautiful mystical friend that I'm so grateful I experienced. Do you believe in polymonogam relationships? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but y'all, humans, we're so silly with our little titles and identities and labels. Like, I know that we do this to ourselves because it makes it easier for us to put each other in categories, but the more that I awaken, the less that I want to participate in titles and identities and labels and categories. Like, why can't we just be who we are and just, if we get along and want to continue experiencing each other, cool. And if we don't relate or resonate with each other's preferences, then let's move on. But it's not a matter of like if I believe in your preferences or not. Your preferences are your preferences. The way you want to live your life is the way you want to live your life, and I have no right to believe in that or approve in that or not, But am I personally a polyamorous or polymonogamous person? Again, I'm not sure if I'm saying that or using those terms correctly. No. Like, I think I mentioned this earlier in the video. Like, I'm definitely more like old-fashioned and traditional in the sense of like I'm talking to one person and one person only, whether we're simply still in the talking phase or if we're in the more serious committed phase. I'm only interested in having a life partnership with one person. Like, for me personally, like, there's something so soul fulfilling and deeply just beautiful and cathartic in just getting to know one person so deeply. And it's wild because we can spend a whole lifetime with someone and still not know all of them. That's how deep and expansive we are, because we're ever changing and ever evolving. So as we get older and grow through our life seasons, we're going to keep changing and we're going to keep getting to know these new versions of each other. And so for me, y'all, I just want to be in a partnership with one person and one person only, and that's my preference. And if you have a different preference, then that's cool. Like, I think it's beautiful that we all have our own preferences and our own desires. Like, again, we're all very deep and expansive, and that's what makes life interesting. How to ensure you honor your own needs, boundaries in a relationship, and not just your partner's. This is where the importance of us truly getting to know ourselves comes in. Like, we can't honor in ourselves what we don't know about ourselves. So we have to get to know what our needs are, and we have to get to know what our boundaries are. And the way that we get to know that is through life experiences. This is why it's important for us to continue to allow ourselves to experience love and partnerships and relationships, because we learn a lot about ourselves in experiencing other people. There's only so much we can learn about ourselves in simply and only experiencing ourselves. So, I mean, y'all, life is full of trial and error, okay? So, allow yourself to experience relationships and fall in love and go through the motions of heartbreak so that you can get to know what exactly your needs are and what exactly your boundaries are. And you ensure that, you're honoring them and you're respecting them, and not just the needs and boundaries of your partners, by, committing to your healing. I feel like we really come into honoring our worthiness and honoring our needs and honoring our boundaries when we come into our own healing. Because when you really commit to doing the work of healing yourself, you really awaken to just how worthy you are. And after you do spend and invest so much time and energy into healing yourself, you're like, okay, you've got to meet me here too. Like, it's not only like us honoring our own needs and boundaries, it's also our partner honoring our needs and boundaries as well. Like, there has to be that level of reciprocation. Like, if you're dating someone who's having you honor their needs and boundaries and they're not considering your own, like, I'm sorry, but you're with the wrong person. Like, so you have to reflect that in each other. Find a partner who also honors their own needs and boundaries, because when they do, they're going to honor yours as well. How to nurture your partner's broken inner child without becoming their mom. Oh man, can I relate to this? Because I definitely have caught myself being my partner's mom. And there's something important to recognize here, okay? It's when we become a quote-unquote parent to our partner, that's not only healing that our partner needs to do, but that's also healing that we need to do ourselves, right? Because that says something about us, that we are taking on the motherly role or the fatherly role for our partner, right? So turn inward and ask yourself, why am I allowing myself to come into this role? Why am I taking on this role? So do some introspection and self-reflection on that. But I feel like this question also kind of relates to the previous question on, the importance of us knowing what our needs are and knowing what our boundaries are. And when we do catch ourselves becoming the parent, we have to be honest with our partners and let them know that we are drawing a boundary, that we are not going to become their parent. And we have to hold each other accountable in our own individual healing, because there's only so much healing that I'll do for you that you're not doing for yourself, right? We each have to be accountable for our own healing. So if your partner has a broken inner child, quote unquote broken, right? Because I'm not someone who believes anyone is necessarily broken. If our partner does have healing work to do in general, then they have to be accountable for their own healing. What is your partner doing to ensure that, they're not bringing you into becoming a mother or a father or a parent to them, right? We can't make ourselves responsible for our partner's healing, for, we have to be equally responsible. We have to be equally accountable, and we have to be equally honest. So if your partner is being honest with you in their needs and, their healing that they need to do and their broken inner child, then that's really beautiful. And I love that honesty. But at the same time, communicate with each other on where the boundary is in helping each other heal and where we ourselves have to expand on that healing. How do you truly forgive yourself for not honoring your intuition in a failing relationship. Whew. I can really relate to this. In my last relationship, my last 2 relationships, I really was not listening to my intuition, and my intuition was very loud and clear. And I was not listening, I was not honoring it. But I have forgiven myself because I didn't have the conscious awareness that I have now. I didn't have the tools that I have now back then. Back then, I didn't know how to properly honor my intuition the way that I properly know how to do so now. And I think that it's important that we allow ourselves that grace. And that we also acknowledge that, a lot of the healing that we need to do within ourselves is caused by experiences that were out of our control at the time. The aspects of you that made you someone who doesn't honor their intuition are aspects that are rooted in experiences programmed by society and caused by other people. When we're children and we experience trauma, us as children, we didn't know how to properly respond to that. So we put up walls, right? We develop these survival mechanisms. And as we get older, we realize that these survival mechanisms, these defense mechanisms, don't serve us anymore. So we have to do that unlearning and relearning. And again, it's all about us allowing ourselves the grace that we deserve. And moving forward, we honor our intuition by honoring the conscious awareness that we've gained and using the tools that we have now moving forward. We deserve to forgive ourselves, and we deserve to gift ourselves grace. Whew, y'all, those were beautiful questions. Thank you for submitting those questions, for those of you who submitted them. I really am honored that, again, you are curious in knowing what my own reflections and thoughts are on these topics. And I hope that, what I shared brought light to you and your own truth in some way, shape, or form. Again, if you feel safe enough and called to share some of your own thoughts and reflections on some of these questions, I'd love to know them and receive them in the comment section below. But if you want more videos like this, again, also let me know in the comments. I again, just really want to cultivate more community and open, honest discussion with you all here on this channel and in this space. So bless Valentine's Day, y'all. Remember, every day is a day for love. And it is important, first and foremost, that we feel loved by and for ourselves. So I thank you all so much for being here. I thank you all for listening. And I look forward to seeing you all in my next video. Peace and blessings to you all. Bye.